You find yourself in a digital wasteland, searching for an MMO to play. Enter EverQuest 2, one of the earliest tab-target MMORPGs that wanted to be successful but failed due to its high CPU requirements and the failure to innovate on changing the MMORPG formula. Not to mention, it released 2 weeks before WoW, which sunk it even more into the ground. I don't mean to bore you with the game's history, so I will skip right on to the game. Welcome to EverQuest 2. You're about to embark into the world of Norath. Here, on this screen, you can choose to create a heroic character or start a fresh character. Upon clicking the heroic character button, you are greeted by this screen. Heroic characters are level boosted characters. You get a set of gear and items to aid you in your journey at level 100. You won't get everything like collections or languages though. If you decide to make a heroic character, you are given the option to try out the class before you decide to buy the boost to 100. There are some people who use this option to try out classes before they make a decision on one. I'll show you what it looks like when doing this option. Upon logging in for the first time, your UI will look like this. You might see other windows, and that is due to the UI add-on I'm using called DarqUI. The regular UI won't have these extra things on screen. So you're going to be seeing me fight these monsters in this trial zone. You'll be seeing me damage like millions or hundreds. But that's how it is when you're at the high levels. You're just doing an insane amount of damage. Now let's get back to making a regular character. You might ask yourself, what version of the game should I try out? You're likely to play on the traditional servers, which is known as the live servers. These are the only servers that you can play the game for free to an extent. If you're curious on what free-to-play is limited to, you can refer to this chart I made using info from the official site. You can also see what you would get with the sub as well as buying the game and stuff from the cash shop. Based on the chart, is EverQuest 2 pay to win? If I had to be honest, it is pay to win on the live servers. As for the TLE/Origin servers, I have read that there is pay to win in the form of items on those servers too. Starting with Chrono. You can buy Chrono and sell it for platinum, which is in-game money. Chrono on the live servers is around 56 billion to 60 billion. If you choose not to use the Chrono to sell for money, you can use it to get a subscription for 1 month. Number 2. RNG crates for familiars. Familiars provide extra passive stats to your character. Raiders that want to be considered top DPS in the meters will often spend a ton for these crates. You can also earn familiars from a repeatable quest, doing public quests where you need to group up with others to complete, or as a drop from certain monsters if you aren't a spender. Number 3. RNG crates for mercenaries. It is not as bad like familiars since they don't give extra stats. Alternatively, you could buy the premium edition of the current expansion and get a great mercenary and mount with it. Number 4. Spending real money to speed up skill and spell research. If you want to upgrade a skill or spell from Master to Grandmaster as an example, you need to research it and it can take real life time to upgrade it. You can speed it up by spending real money. If you don't intend to raid, you can ignore most of this. You can play to earn the familiars through quests, find mercenaries through the tavern or random parts of the world, earn mounts via status. It's all just gonna take time if you got enough for this game. In EverQuest 2, classes are divided up into 4 archetypes. Fighters are the tanks, priests are the healers, mages are the casters, and scouts are the rogues. If you're new to the game, or new to MMOs in general, here's what I can recommend. Fighters If you like playing an offensive tank with life leech and high damage for AoE mob grinds, Shadow Knight is your choice. In terms of priest, if you love being a mage and a healer at the same time, play a Fury. If you love high damage AoE and dot control, play a Warlock. As for the scouts, if you love to deal consistent damage and prefer a solo playstyle, consider playing a Swashbuckler. Is there a difference between the classes? Yes, there are differences, but both are viable in their own way. In other words, one class does better in one aspect, while another does better in a different aspect. Let's take Troubadour and Dirge as the examples. Troubadours provide buffs to caster DPS groups. They can also mez and charm their targets. However, Dirge provide buffs to melee DPS and tank groups. They can also battle res. Dirges are valuable to have in a group for the emergency battle res, which Troubadours lack. Once you select a class, you can choose what race to play. You can choose whether to be good, neutral, or evil. Choose whatever you like best. Note that some classes can only be played in specific factions. At level 10, you can decide to betray your faction. At this point, you can change your class within your subclass if you want. For example, you can choose to be a Shadow Knight or become an evil paladin. Next, you need to choose your starting city. If you're new, I suggest either Queen's Colony or Overlord's Outpost. If you're looking for exploration and an open world feeling, choose Nariak, Gorowen, Kelethin, or New Hallis. If you're playing with friends, make sure they pick the same option you went with. And finally, you can pick a server. It is worth noting that all servers are balanced in population. Halls of Fate, Mojdul, and Tonya Bale are often recommended, while Skyfire is also a good option too. Depending if you chose Queen's Colony or Overlord's Outpost, you will appear in the early tutorial zone known as the Far Journey. I'm going to skip this content so you're not spoiled by a lot of it, but you'll learn a few of the basics in this tutorial. Once you're off the ship, you're now on what is the tutorial island of the game. It is here where you will learn how to play, and where I will leave you to your imagination on how you will go about the game. In EverQuest 2, there's a lot to experience in the game. Running open dungeons with your friends, or a mercenary if you're solo. Progressing through notable timelines such as the prismatic weapon and signature questlines. Experiencing the raids of each content expansion. Collecting shinies for your collection book, and getting a house or even a guild hall and decorating it to your heart's content. If you're looking to PvP, there is no PvP server unless you subscribe and make a character on the Origin server of Dozikar. If you end up liking the game as free-to-play, and or want a more old-school approach to the game, where early leveling zones are more active, grouping is a must to progress, and the feeling of a hard grind to level, consider subbing and making a character on either Anashti Soul, the PvE server, or Dozikar, which is the PvP server. Alternatively, you could wait until May or June for the upcoming TLE Fresh Start server. If you decide to play now, you can figure out what class to main for the TLE. If you plan on joining the Origin servers, I recommend bringing friends into it, as it will make your time there more enjoyable. If you're on your own, join a guild right away. You can find guild adverts in the official EQ2 Discord. So you might ask, what's the leveling like? You can traditionally quest your way up to 110. You can grind mobs, regular and heroic, in the open dungeons in certain zones. Or you can run agnostic dungeons, which is located in either Freeport or Kinos. These are dungeons from previous content that can be spammed for experience and spell and skill upgrades. but they can be pretty repetitive. If you've made it this far, I hope you do give EverQuest 2 a fair try. While I wanted to make a video whether the game is worth playing or not, I'm not that far into my new playthrough to give a fair answer for the live servers. Based on my past playthrough on the TLE servers, it is worth playing if you can put a subscription for the game. By playing the TLE or the Origin servers, you can enjoy the game how it was intended to be and not experience much of the heavy pay-to-win aspects on the live servers. EverQuest 2 is quite an underrated gem that needs more visibility, especially in this MMO drought.